I'm not spinning the block on bullshit.
You better say that.
You just can't keep spinning the block on bullshit.
I think that one of the most important skills you can learn in life is how to walk away the first time. Not after you've cried, over-explained, and begged, but the first time that someone shows you any type of inconsistency, disrespect, or chaos, that is your answer. And staying past that point only teaches people that your boundaries are flexible. So the sooner that you learn this, the more peaceful your life will be.
Stress is a silent killer. And if you are chronically stressed, I need you to stop listening to the rhetoric that's telling us to manage stress. Your goal should be to eliminate chronic stress, not manage it.
Wow. So you're saying I can run, I can walk, I can drink water, I can get in the sauna, but if I'm stressed, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you ain't did much.
Man, that's crazy.
You're not dealing with the bigger issue. If you're working a job that you can't stand 40 hours a week, if you're staying in a relationship that's not mutually beneficial, if you're not talking to family and friends, if you're financial stress, if you're in spiritual warfare, like it could be in any area of your life. The thing you want to prioritize is combating the chronic stressor.
So hi guys, welcome back to Post-Traumatic Bliss. Today we are talking about healing your energy. And one of the best ways to do that is to eliminate stress by walking away. A lot of people are out there managing stress, but stress is not something that needs to be managed. Stress is something you eliminate. This is how you heal your energy. And I want you to see the neurobiological impact of stress as we move on and why you need to eliminate it and have a zero tolerance for people, things, places, jobs, anything that's chronically stressing you, because chronic stress is the leading killer in the world.
Long as you're chronically stressed, everything you do behind it is going to be dogged.
Wow, that's crazy.
Chronic high stress, mainly mental stress, or you have a lot of losses or injuries, it's very damaging to the brain because this activates certain genes in your brain that can turn on dementia, degeneration, inflammation. And so high stress, high cortisol can create atrophy of the hippocampus, the key part of the brain that's involved in cognition.
So let's talk about the hippocampus. I once read that kids who live in war-torn countries, let's say like Joseph Kony, the way he kidnaps kids and turns them into child soldiers, their hippocampus, because they are living in such a high stress area, their hippocampus is damaged. And because the hippocampus is damaged, they are not able to regulate their body to move from a survival state into feeling safe and calm, into this safety mode, right? Because the body operates either in survival mode or safe mode. They live such chronically stressed lives that the body tells itself that, hey, we don't have any need for this hippocampus. So, and remember, when you're not able to switch from survival mode into thriving mode, into the calm state of mind, you're not able to use your most advanced part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, which plans for the future, things for the future. And I want you to understand that you don't have to be a child soldier for this to happen to you. Chronic stress can damage your hippocampus. You may not be able to switch from survival mode into the parasympathetic nervous system or the safe mode.
The only thing that works when someone won't choose you is you have to stop being available to be chosen by them. I've been conditioned to think that staying and proving our worth and working harder and doing more is going to somehow make them choose us. And if we show them how good we are, one day that person will commit. But here's what happens. You become the option that's always there while they're out exploring and looking for more. You're not playing hard to get. You're actually hard to get because your life is full and you have standards and you've set some boundaries for yourself.
If you find yourself losing people, shedding situations, shedding jobs, shedding things that you maybe felt a false sense of security in. It's because you cannot carry that baggage into this next phase of your life.
This lady said, nobody respects the girl that walks away quietly. The one that gotta get up and collect her feelings, not make a scene, don't make no muss, no fuss, no cuss nobody out, no slap nobody, don't do nothing. You can have it. You can have it. You can have it. Like, ooh. One day I'm gonna tell my story. One day I'm gonna tell my story.
Person who can walk away without needing closure is a powerful person. They don't need a final conversation or a carefully worded excuse to justify moving on. They don't want your apology or your bullshit explanation. And they definitely don't need you to validate what they already know. They saw what they needed to see. They accepted it and they moved on with their life. Because they know that closure isn't something that someone else hands to you. It's something that you can only give to yourself. And that's what makes them so powerful. Because they refuse to hand their peace. Because they refuse to hand their peace. Because they refuse to hand their peace to someone who's already hurt them.
Let's go back to that point where you refuse to hand your peace to somebody else because you understand that there are things that you can't negotiate. You do not need them to explain anything. You do not need any to endure anything. You do not need closure from anybody because you understand like this situation is abusive and it's chronically stressful, and because it's going to just breed more cancer and stress and it's not gonna stop, I am walking away. And that's it. I don't need your apology. I don't need your explanation about your behavior. I don't need to know anything. There's no negotiation here. Like this is not a place where we are going to negotiate about my mental health, my well-being. This is the line where they know that they shouldn't cross, because when they cross it, there will be no negotiation. I will not be looking for closure. I will not be looking for an explanation. I'll be walking away.
They don't want your apology or your bullshit explanation. And they definitely don't need you to validate what they already know. They saw what they needed to see. They accepted it and they moved on with their life. Because they know that closure isn't something that someone else hands to you. It's something that you can only give to yourself. And that's what makes them so powerful. Because they refuse to hand their peace. Because they refuse to hand their peace. Because they refuse to hand their peace to someone who's already hurt them.
Of stress.
My dad died completely from stress-related illness. Like, it wasn't cancer that took him, it was a burst stomach ulcer that caused internal complications, like accumulated from 6 years of ongoing stress. And the amount of people, I was working with a company the other day, one of their senior leadership died of a heart attack, and that's why they wanted to look at these kind of things, because it is such a huge life threat. But we just assume like, oh, I'm a bit stressed, it's fine. But you can have a heart attack from stress, from increased blood pressure, higher cholesterol.
A lot of people don't understand that stress can cause you to have heart problems. The same way loneliness is a form of stress. It can cause you to have heart problems. Even a highly chronically stressed relationship, work environment, all these things, if they're not making your heart happy, they are causing heart disease. Your heart needs to be happy. We all understand instinctively that love and happiness is good for the heart, and the opposite is bad for the heart. The moment your life is not happy, you lose. The game is lost. Because if you're chronically unhappy with your life, it loses meaning. It loses meaning. There is no need to be in a situation or in a place where you're not happy. There really isn't. Because you can get sick. The body literally gets sick from stress, whether you're not able to digest your food, you had heart problems, you can get a stroke because of high blood pressure, you may not be able to sleep. All these things that can happen.
I just saw a video that said you need to learn to chill the fuck out before you end up in a hospital. And as somebody who literally almost ended up in a hospital because I was so stressed out last year, please take that seriously. I spent the majority of 2025 in a state of fight or flight that I have never experienced before in my life. I was constantly sick. I was not sleeping. I lost 30 pounds. I had short-term memory loss. I could not remember a thing. Like, when I tell you I've always had very, very good memory, and I was not remembering a single thing half the time. I was having periods for 3 to 4 weeks at a time. I had no interest in doing literally anything. I wasn't working out. I used to work out 5 or 6 times a week. Last year, I think I worked out a total of like 10, 20 times the entire year. I haven't talked about it too much on here, but I was unfortunately in a very, very, very toxic situation last year, to say the very least. And I know I joke a lot, and I'm like, yeah, like 2025 was the worst year of my life. Like, I barely made it out alive. I escaped and I moved to New York. I'm being dead serious. Like, I genuinely mean that with my entire heart. I let something almost cost me my entire life because it was stressing me out so bad that I was shutting down completely and didn't even realize it. I let it take my personality. I let it take my spark. I let it take all the things that I like. I let it take my sanity. I literally thought I was going insane. Like, when I tell you I thought I was going insane, I thought that I had some sort of crazy disease because I was just like, oh my God, like, what is wrong with me? Why are all these bad things happening? Why am I literally coming up with all these stories in my head? They were all correct, of course, but somebody was telling me that I was coming up with these stories in my head. I thought I was going insane. If you never listen to anything else I say, that is the most important thing that I learned last year, is that nothing is ever worth it, because I never want to see myself in a place that low ever again in my life. Please, stress is not worth it. A man is not worth it. A relationship is not worth it. A place is not worth it. A job, a city, nothing is worth it. Okay, good night and goodbye.
Let's talk about having the courage to walk away from relationships and jobs that don't work for us. Okay, you know in your body when something's not working for you, when it feels toxic, or it's dragging you down, or you have any doubt about it. If you have any doubt about your job or your relationship, you need to get out. And here's why. When you jump, you fly. When I left the Housewives, I was making millions of dollars. And my business manager was like, how can you walk away from this? And I also left my Skinny Girl deal where I was making millions of dollars. I was only going to do my podcast, and I just didn't want to be there anymore. I jumped and I flew, and I created an entire other career. I thought I was sort of going to downsize, lean towards retirement, just focus on philanthropy and my daughter. And by just being myself and being honest, I ended up quadrupling my business. Because it was out of truth. It was out of something inside my body that I didn't want to be doing anymore. And the bandwidth and the time suck and the toxicity suck of being on the Housewives was all encompassing. Like, even if you weren't shooting all the time, you were talking about things you didn't want to talk about, to people you didn't want to talk to, fighting about things you didn't want to fight, pretending it was real in the press and living that lifestyle, and walking away from it like took a layer off of me.
When your body knows you're done, you're done. Your spirit knows it that you're done. Your soul knows it that you're done. And people will be like, why are you walking away from millions and millions of dollars? It's because sometimes you don't even want to get out of bed because your body is telling you, I've had it. It's toxic. I don't want this feeling. And it's stressful and it's starting to cause disease. You gotta listen to your body. You got to listen to your body.
And relationships are the same. When you jump, you fly. If you don't feel whole in it, you know. If it's not, yes, it's no. In business and in personal. Now, not everyone can walk away from their job. I'm not saying that. But if you can start a plan and have some courage, jump, you will fly.
Hey friend, the cost of chronic stress is survival mode. The cost of survival mode is keeping energy around that's not in alignment with your purpose. You need to look at your health from a holistic angle, and instead of just stressing out over being stressed out, start cleaning up your life by surrounding yourself with good energy, by actually taking your self-care seriously and prioritizing self-regulation and making sure that if you do want to co-regulate, it's with the right energy and right people.
You're not going to heal your energy if you do not eliminate places, things, people that bring you that bad energy. There is power in walking away, and people are not going to clap for you for choosing yourself. People are not going to, pick up the hat and salute you for doing that. But this is what you will need to do to heal your life. Walking away sometimes is the best thing that you can do to choose yourself and heal your energy and remove that chronic survival mode.
There are actual long-term consequences of living in a state of chronic stress. And you're going to get some warning alerts for a little bit. You might have stomach issues, maybe anxiety, a panic attack here or there. But no living organism was created to sustain these levels of chronic stress for an extended period of time. And after you've lived in that state for such an extended period of time, then we're now dealing with nervous system sensitization. You are. But let me tell you one of the dead giveaways. You're experiencing some type of chronic symptoms. Could be chronic anxiety. I'm talking nonstop 24/7 panic and doom. Could be migraines, could be IBS, could be fibromyalgia. What I just listed is the very tippy top of the iceberg on that. And so if what you've been trying to do to make those symptoms go away and to heal and to recover is all these nervous system techniques and you're not making any progress, I get that, because that was my experience for 20 years. This was a horrific cycle that I myself went through and finally got out of over the last year. And so I love showing up online to let people know that they aren't destined to suffer forever. And there are very real things that you can start doing today in how you relate and respond to your symptoms that can help you start feeling better really quickly.
Don't even look back. Don't even give a breath, a waste of air to that individual, to that situation. Just walk the hell away. So it comes down to the ability to choose your battles and decide, is this worth my time? Is this something that I'm even interested in reconciling, if it's like a relationship or something? But also it could be something like work, where you feel like you're not respected, you feel like you're overworked, you feel like you just don't belong in that space. You walk the hell away, of course with a plan to find employment before you walk away. But regardless of the situation, the thing is, you don't need that shit. You do not need it. If it's a job, there's millions of jobs out there. Maybe not the best market right now, but not the best, still jobs out there. If it's friendship, there's millions and millions of people. If it's dating, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the opportunities that you have to date. There's always better out there. There is no need for you to settle. There's no need for you to look and be like, I'm stuck in this situation. Because when you stay, when you go back, when you allow that disrespectful to come around, you are insinuating that there is no better out there, and this is exactly what you deserve. Why?
Hey, if you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to leave me a comment and let me know what you liked about the video. Share this video with somebody who might need content on health, self-growth, healing your energy, and reclaiming your mental health and space. I really like the support that you guys have given this channel. Please continue to watch the videos, liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate all the support that I have from you.
Walking away is one of the racks of self-worth there is. Decide today that you are no longer going to tolerate behavior, inconsistent communication, complete emotional unavailability, that you are only going to surround yourself with people who support you, who are there for you, who inspire you, and certainly not people who drain you. See, we are wired to connect and we are wired to attach. And the need to feel chosen and to love is a beautiful thing, but it can be so overpowering that it leaves you very vulnerable. It tempts you to stay in situations and in relationships that completely erode your dignity. Self-respect says, I am walking away from anyone who refuses to treat me like I matter.
To chronic stress and anxiety isn't burnout. The cost is who you slowly stop being. With chronic stress and anxiety, the HPA axis is constantly activated. So it's diverting energy away from digestion, from restoration, from repair, from creativity and connection. Might notice less joy, shorter patience, emotional numbness, or just flat with brain fog, even when life's okay. As a health practitioner for 30 years, I can tell you this is not psychological system under strain. Healing is not about pushing harder, teaching your system to be safe again.
For life, when you look in the mirror and you realize that you're looking at a really miserable human being, and what brought you to this state, when all you want is to be happy, lead a good life. In this gorgeous house that most people would just love to be able to own. I said, okay, I'm walking away from all of this. It's not worth it. And I've read that so many other times. People have reached this point in their lives, they just walk away. But there are many who can't walk away.
Have the balls to walk away. Nobody's going to heal your life for you if you don't know how to choose better. If you don't know how to choose happiness over stress, nobody's gonna do that decision for you.
Why can't they walk away? They have financial investment in all of that. They're not going to leave that behind and start something new, something better. Can't do it. You see it every day in people.
How to be a powerful woman. The number one skill, the number one trait that you should start possessing as you get older is the ability to walk away from people, things, relationships that are no longer serving you. 90% of women have such a hard time doing this, and that's okay, because we are not taught how to walk away from things. We are taught to stay. We are taught to say yes. We are taught to people please. The more you're going to say no, and the more you're going to practice walking away from things, it's going to teach you discipline. It's going to teach you consistency. It's going to teach you how to stand up for yourself. So to embody this new version of you, to embody confidence, to embody being powerful, like truly powerful from the inside, that it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what people are saying behind your back. It doesn't matter what people are saying on social media. It doesn't matter what anyone else is saying. All that matters is how you feel about yourself. And if you can practice walking away from things, walking away from experiences, conversations, people, and relationships that don't move you in the direction that you feel compelled to move in, you're going to be a different woman.
Your body understands the language of being safe, happy, wanted, and being, free, right? That's the language of the body. The moment you do not feel that, all bets are off the table, because if that situation continues on to be chronic, it's a situation you go to work, people are shouting, screaming at you, belittling you, questioning you aggressively, you feel like you're in a battlefield. The more psychological torment you feel, it starts to create disease in your body. It's a disease of the nervous system, and your nervous system controls every other system of your body. So if your nervous system is off, your whole life is off. Your whole life is off. Everything is off the table. That is why it's so important. It's so important that you listen to your body and you take in that information.
Here's a hard pill for you to swallow. It's your fault if you get hurt by holding on to someone who continuously shows you that they're no good for you. Show yourself some respect and walk the fuck away.
Here are 5 signs I've learned that tell me it's time to walk away from a relationship. As a clinical research professional who understands the impact of stress on the body and brain, I've seen people say that walking away from relationships is inhumane. What I've learned is that staying in relationships that repeatedly harm is actually harmful for both parties. The number one indicator that it's time to walk away is that repair is not happening. No matter how many times you have a conversation, it may end in apologies, but there's never any behavioral change. That's not called a resolution, it's called a reset. And I don't want to be on a roller coaster where I feel like I can never get off. Remaining in these constant feedback loops keep your body in a chronic state of stress, because your brain eventually learns that there's no real safety or predictability. Relationships are supposed to feel like a safe space, and even if there's difficult conversation trying to work through the issue, that doesn't mean it's not necessarily safe. Accountability doesn't mean safety. Effort without progress is still harmful, and until there's change, healthy distance is perfectly acceptable. The second sign is when my body tenses up around people, but when I'm not around them, I relax. When you feel that gush of anxiety going through your body, you just feel extremely unsettled. That's a psychological response that deserves being listened to. I'm of the belief that I don't think people understand how powerful our brains are. The reason why we have these responses is because your brain is trying to tell you something. One of the main things our brain is designed to do is keep us safe. When a relationship constantly puts your body in a state of stress and that information goes to your brain, creating distance is not a form of weakness. That's you acting on information. When a relationship constantly puts your body in a state of stress and that information goes to your brain, creating distance is not a form of weakness. That's you acting on information. Number 3 is when the conversation shift from the actual issue at hand to the boundary that you have placed. Distance is a boundary. And just because you put distance between you and someone doesn't mean that you're exiling them from your life. It could mean that you just don't see them as frequently, you don't talk as much, you don't share personal information. If somebody is more focused on those 3 things as opposed to actually resolving the issue at hand, tells me those precautions are there with good reason and I should continue to keep them intact. For me, a lot of these signs are just in alignment with self-respect and dignity. I've learned that self-respect means I'm not going to be negotiating my basic needs with you.
Self-respect means I am not going to negotiate my basic needs with you.
I've learned that self-respect means I'm not going to be negotiating my basic needs with you. If I need distance because of whatever action, that's what I need. And dignity is me not having to over-explain why I need that distance. Number 4 is when I realized that my endurance in a relationship is replacing the mutual care. I don't know where this thought came from me, but I always used to thought that withstanding a relationship or staying in a relationship or just the act of endurance was a form of love. In reality, sometimes when it comes to relationship, endurance is just fear because you feel as though if you don't keep pushing through, the love that that person has for you or the care they have for you will be removed. I've learned that endurance is constantly praised, but without repair, endurance isn't love, just me trying to survive the relationship. And when you're in a constant state of survival, that's associated with stress. And we know I don't like bad stress. And the last sign is when I feel like grace is starting to replace my health, my sleep, my sanity. I think it's very important to extend grace to other people, but I also think it's harmful to excuse certain behavior. If I have to spend time explaining someone else's behavior to other people so it doesn't look as bad, or constantly telling myself they didn't mean it even though it keeps happening, it's time to create that healthy distance.
Walk away from anything that is not serving you, anything or anybody that is not meeting your standards. Walk away. What's meant for you is going to come to you. And when it comes to you, it's going to show up exactly how you need it to show up. But as long as you stay, as long as you settle, you're never going to get what you want. You're always going to get the short end of the stick. But if you are willing to walk away, that means you are willing to walk away from things that don't align with who you are and what you want and where you're going. You're going to walk right into new blessings that are in alignment with what you want and who you are.
I mean, you've heard it. You've heard it from influencers, from doctors, neurologists. You've heard it. They tell you, a little bit of stress in life is good. Just kind of like finishing a work project, finishing your homework. A little bit of, life stresses is not bad. Our body is designed to deal with small little doses of stress. But our body is not meant to deal with chronic stress. Chronic stress is what kills you. If you wanted any excuse to walk away from a bad situation that's chronically stressing you, I want you to know that you do not need an excuse. You're not making things up in your head. Things are bad and your body is communicating to you. You have to act on that information that your body is giving you. If you're feeling like you don't want to wake up to go to a certain place, there are people you don't want to see, you just act on the information, okay? They're chronically stressing you, or there are people who are combative friendships, but they start an argument every time you see them. Your body is telling you this person is toxic to your nervous system. Listen. Don't negotiate. Don't give them grace. Don't explain yourself. Okay, for me, one of the things that I have learned to be really cutthroat about is when I'm blocking somebody, I'm not going to tell you, I'm sorry, I have to block you. No, you will figure out that we are no longer in speaking terms because I already left. I don't need to negotiate, to explain, to give anything. I'm not going to endure anybody who gives me chronic stress and is potentially making my nervous system get diseased and all that. I will walk away. And I hope that you have the self-love, the courage, and the self-respect and dignity to walk away and go get better. Don't build your house on the sand, right? The Bible says don't build your house on the sandy land or build it too near at the shore, because you will have to build it twice. If you build your career on a stressful company, your relationship on somebody who chronically stresses you, you will have to build that twice. I'm always encouraged by Hagar. She leaves Abraham and Sarah because they are very toxic to her and her son Ishmael. And she goes into the desert, and sometimes there's no water, but God strikes a miracle. God will strike a miracle for you too. God will strike a miracle to you too, right? Blessed Ishmael, made him a great, great nation, right? God tells you, don't worry about your haters. I'll take care of you, right? But you just gotta have to choose yourself first and walk away. So thanks again for coming to Post-Traumatic Bliss, where you learn about healing your energy, healing your nervous system, and, growing and living a better life for yourself. I love you. May God bless you. Again, my name is Kanini, and Today I'm shooting this one on April 30th, 2026. Yeah, and I hope to shoot more videos for you guys in the future. I love you. God bless you.